Crawford County Commission meeting come to order this 26th day of July 2019. Please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gentlemen, you have a copy of the previous meeting. Are there any corrections or additions?
I have none, and I'll move to approve.
Second.
Aye. First, we have signing of the motions.
Motions from the last meeting here to sign. First motion is 19-215. That's consent agenda to be approved. The next motion is 19-216 to approve the purchase of a 2011 Ford F-250 four-wheel drive with 21,595 miles from Evans Motors of Pittsburgh, Kansas for $23,950 for the noxious weed department. Next motion is 19-217 to recess this open session and go into a closed executive session for a period of not more than 10 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel and to include the Board of County Commissioners and County Councilor Jim Emerson, and to reconvene by 10:49 a.m. And the last motion is 19-218 to recess this open session and go into a closed executive session for a period of not more than 10 minutes to discuss non-elected personnel and to include the Board of County Commissioners and County Councilor Jim Emerson, and to reconvene by 10:55 a.m.
Thank you, Don.
Right, thank you, Commissioners.
All right, first under new business, we have Mr. Rick Pfeiffer, Mental Health Executive Director, regarding fundraising efforts for the new Addiction Treatment Center. I think Rick, I'm not sure if he's still here or not, so we're gonna bypass him for the time being, and we will move on to new business. Donald, new business.
The only thing I wanted, well, I had a couple of kind of housekeeping items here. One was, wanted to kind of make you all aware, I received a notice through our local emergency planning committee that KDHE, Kansas Department of Health and Environment, had issued a high risk for West Nile virus activity, and we are one of the 3 regions in Kansas that has been designated for that. I mean, I think it's important for people to know about, and you know, might be a little more.
I think there may have been a couple public service announcements come out on that, because I've heard several people ask me about it. I'm not sure.
Buy your mosquito repellent, you know.
You're right.
You just think about those kind of things if you're gonna be outside, and, you know.
Because mosquitoes they're terrible right now.
If you have things that, you know, try not to leave water standing in areas if you can help it, that present a place for them to breathe. So anyway, I think I forwarded that to the Morning Sun when I got it, as well as a lot of the city clerks in the county, to make sure that they were all aware of it. Anyway, we'd kind of been growing over the last 2 or 3 weeks. You know, they got notices that showed, I guess they set traps for those mosquitoes, and they examine them, and there's a specific variety of mosquito that is more likely to carry that West Nile virus, and we had a higher population of them than normal, and anyway.
Is there anything that the county is able to do about that, like through the health department or spraying?
I mean, we can spray. From those first notices, it's up to local jurisdictions to do what they can to buy whenever they have larvicide, which is designed to kill larvae in standing water, things like that. And then they have a kind of a fog that they put out that kills the adult ones in the air. And it's not cheap. It's
That's terrible. That has to be terrible for you.
Yeah.
It's usually won't be outside.
There's some areas that have a vehicle that drives around and
Drive down the
fogs
street, they fog the
the
entire
city, you know.
city.
Oh, man.
But
Wow.
It's nasty. You can taste it from blocks away.
Oh, wow.
It's not. It can't be good for you.
I wouldn't think so.
so I mean, it might be more prudent for people to make sure they're putting mosquito repellent on and putting it on children, things like that, to try to prevent bites from those that could be carrying that West Nile virus. So anyway, just like I said, I sent that same notice to the Morning Sun, so they hopefully could run with it. And there are some, if you do decide to do some spraying, they're saying that could be tied to, you could apply for reimbursement through Homeland, through FEMA funds. That doesn't necessarily mean you'll get it, but you can apply anyway. It could be kind of linked to this incident or the flooding as well. They're kind of tying that into one bundled disaster. So kind of the aftermath. But anyway, wanted you guys to be aware of that. I'll probably forward you that email as well. That way, too, if you have people that ask you about it, and you say, well, it's,
Might want to forward that to Rebecca Adamson as well.
I was gonna
yeah,
say.
she got it when I did.
She did.
Yeah, she's in that part of that emergency planning committee. So, and I made sure her email was on there. The other thing I had, I talked to, and this was something that Jeremy and I had talked to about. I was going to ask you this morning about the city, kind of county, city government meetings we've had in the past, and I know we're working on that. I'd had an inquiry from someone about if we were having one of those and where we were at, and he and I were talking, and it sounds like there's, we're working with the city of Girard maybe to host it over here.
Oh, good.
And we're gonna kind of look at some possible venues for that.
That'd be an interesting one, the next one.
Yeah.
Have security present.
They're always
Just in
interesting.
case.
They're always
You may want to have
interesting.
security.
That's all I really had for new business, though. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna back up a little bit. Next on the agenda, we have Mr. Rick Pfeiffer, Mental Health Executive Director, regarding fundraising efforts for the new Addiction Treatment Center.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for being late. We just went to the ATC, and, it's kind of like just a minute. Things were happening. People want to talk just a minute. Yeah, grab me. We've sent a press release to the Morning Sun, and I'm just going to tell you about it, and then I'm going to give you some things and do some other pieces. We just heard that we got the international award for Camino del Guerrero. It's the Spanish Trail of the Warrior, and Camino del Guerrero is basically the Trail of the Warrior in Spanish. We got the International Latino Award for Best in Health and then we'll pick up that award September 21st. They've got about 10 events. I'm hoping maybe the Spanish will sell better even than the English has. They've got about 10 events to promote it, and I'm looking forward to that piece. We're going to attempt to, Mike and I are moving forward, and Vicki, the director of the Addiction Center, we're looking forward to doing a workbook where a person can go through the book, identify issues of addiction, and then they can write their own journal. And then the last piece I want to tell you about is we're going to start, I mean, I'm not just saying this because it's a great book, but these audios are awesome. They are awesome. They did a wonderful job. Listen Up Audio did it for us. They did a really good job. There's three people that did the English version, and there's 2 people that did the Spanish version. Both Spanish and English are done. This is an author's proof, which basically means we're double checking it.
This is the English version.
That's the English version, yeah. It has the Spanish award on it. I listened to the English, Spanish on my trip because I was alone going back and forth to Wyoming. And I'm trying to, because I know everybody's going to be speaking Spanish when I go to the awards again. So anyway, you can slip those Scotch tape things and listen to it. I'm trying to think, in about 3 weeks, it'll be for sale on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. We're selling that for $10, and we can reproduce those for nothing. We didn't sign any rights away to anything whenever we did any of it, so it all goes to Fact Inc. 100% of profits go to the fundraiser. And I'm going to gift those to you with the understanding that I've got a multiple choice test that I
We'll be the guinea pigs for the workbook.
See who
it's
can
only
score
16
highest.
questions, but
Say, Heidi, listen to this.
so I'll bring the test over and we'll have fun with that in our future. But when you're driving back and forth to work, when you're in a time when someone doesn't tell you to turn that stuff off and not listen to it, when you want to listen to it, please do. The other thing I want you to know is not only is it developing into the issue of the opportunity with the workbook, but I also want you to know that those are Crawford County people. The stories are true. They are real life situations. The only modifications in there were slightly modified in order that people could be easily identified. Right. And for example, the tragic circumstance of a suicide in there is so well known in the community that once we put it in there, how that event took place, someone would know exactly who that was. Because historically it's part of the community. So the press release on the Latino Award has gone to the Morning Sun, and I was supposed to call them back, and they didn't answer, which is fine. I mean, it'll come up again. It's newsworthy. It just can't push the river on this thing. It's just the way it is. We've applied for the book awards because we're looking to get to the eventual place through reviews and awards that somebody will pay for a marketing package to further sell it. And like I've told people, I wrote the book so it'd last 50 years. So we got a slow uphill pace here, but we'll get her done. There's C4 conferences, and Mike's gone to the East Coast. I've gone to the West Coast and the East Coast. But there's these huge C4 conferences where you can go in, and we could easily market the workbook and the book combined. And after I do something like this, I kind of look for a sign on, whether it was the right choice or not. And coming out of my, so you're keeping the Spanish version. Good luck with that.
See?
No comprende?
Gracias, señor.
Where was I? C4. That those conferences are huge and an opportunity to market the book to people. The other thing that's really neat that we've learned, Fact Inc. has now garnered through all our work on it the opportunity to figure out how to do these. So if someone's got a children's book they want to publish, this one's done through Instagram Spark, which is an IBPA publisher that I met through the process of going to the IBPA convention in California. If there's a word in that we want to change, we just do it digitally. It's print on demand. And I've ordered them before from Barnes & Noble. If you go bookfinder.com, you'll see they're for sale all over the world. France, Australia, everywhere. But when I went to Barnes & Noble and ordered a Camino del Guerrero and a Trail of the Warrior the other day, they said they'll come from Instagram Spark. So they came in a box. That's just like flat out money to Fact Inc. We didn't have to put out the money to do the original 6,000 then. It just sits there. So if someone writes a book, let's say helping children through divorce, we put it on Instagram Spark, we're going in there for, because we're all set up as a not-for-profit, we're probably going in there for $400 to $500, and then the book sells print on demand for 10 to 12. And it's really, it's like discovering the internet. It is so cool. I mean, your child could write a book and publish it through there, you know? I mean, it's just that cool. So they go print on demand, and a lot of people have funded them with crowdfunding. Like they'll go to their grade school and they'll say, we're going to write a book about bullying for grade school kids. If you want the first book, if you want the first copy of the book, hey Julie, if you want the first copy of the book, then participate. And so they'll crowdfund the initiation of it. So anyway, it's a nice opportunity to get this sold on the long term. It's a wonderful opportunity for Fact Inc. to become like Hazleton or something like that, where they can actually publish the books. That's my fundraising conversation. And I wanted to ask Jim if I could go into executive session 5 minutes. It won't take long.
Okay.
Could I ask a couple of questions about some
Absolutely.
fundraising before we do that?
Yeah, no problem.
So how has the book sale been going?
We're breaking even. We're holding our own through donations and sales. We put out probably around 6,000 books. When I've talked to the board about this, and to be quite honest, in my disappointment, because I thought, I mean, I've been to AA General Services in New York. I'm planning on going to the AA International meeting in Detroit in midsummer of July of this next year. I've been real disappointed that it just didn't explode, you know. And because of my history with being involved with literature, I've been to ALA and stuff like that for 20 plus years, American Library Association. And it's a huge industry. I mean, we're talking billions. We're talking 30,000 people attend these things nationally. So I was hoping for better, but it's satisfying. It's okay. I think the audio is going to sell excellent. If we can get a dollar a sale from Audible or Amazon or iTunes, we can get a dollar a sale and sell 1 million of them. I'm for that. I mean, you know. So one of the things that happened, and that's what I was saying when I got lost. I look for a sign after I do something. You know, I'm on the right track. And I was walking out of my office, my back door, and this lady stopped me and she said, "Are you the guy that gave that book to my husband?" I said, "Yeah," because you never can tell. It might be smack or it might be a handshake. It might go either way because that's the way life is. I said,
That's
"Yeah." She said, "Well, I've been reading the book to him. He's dyslexic, and I really appreciate it." So it led me to the conclusion that people who can't read are going to get an opportunity. So, yeah, we're broke even. We're breaking even. If you put the numbers down to the marketing piece, we wouldn't be as solid. But if you take part of that out, we broke even at this point. The Audible, the disc like that for $10 with the barcode, the whole deal. Once Ron Rhodes has been super kind, and I feel confident he'll approve it. But I always give it to him as a courtesy because he hangs it out on his store for free, and he gives us 100% of what he sells.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't take any money. So it'll be for sale at Ron's eventually, and I'll tell the newspaper that when they're around. I'm disappointed they're not here, but I really don't care either, to be quite honest with you, because we're not going for the short term. Any other questions?
Don, did you have something?
I did wonder, do you see like the workbook and stuff maybe becoming part of programs?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're testing it. We're testing it. We're testing it right now as a program.
I could see that being potentially a big
Oh, yeah.
market, and a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge market. It's a huge market. When you listen to the book, you're going to realize it's a huge market for family members, for addicts, and people who are not educated about what the addict goes through. It's a huge market for all those people. Huge market. And my hope is once we get the workbook done, we can turn consumers loose, because on holidays and weekends, there's a lot of dead time when you're hospitalized. And it'll give people an opportunity to listen and work, you know. They can, for example, when you get into chapter 18 and Dr. Leon is telling Charlie what he instructs him to do for his recovery, there's specific things that Dr. Leon asks him to do that can be in the workbook. You know, thought stopping and sentence completion in particular. So anyway.
So aside from the book and audiobook sales, like is this the bulk of the fundraising efforts that you guys have been
No, we've got,
conducting?
I don't know, we haven't. We've got a guy named Bud something with a professional fundraising organization that Fact Inc. approved for I think it was a flat amount of $15,000, and he's done large fundraising in the area, and Heather's in charge of it, and Heather will be here on the 6th. And we closed him down for a while because I was uncomfortable with it going public that we were getting from the county and we were getting from fundraising. I was uncomfortable with the fact that people would get confused. If we make it very clear to people, it's $1 million with the county and the rest is coming out of fundraising, then I think I'll proceed with it. But I stopped it until August or September until I could get through the budget. And now that that's getting resolved, we'll need to make a decision about what to do with Bud. He's an old guy, maybe 70s or 80s, out of Johnson County, familiar with the area, and has fundraised for lots of things that are similar to this. I mean, it's his profession. So he's got a program he's done, and I'll have Heather bring it with me.
Okay.
He's got a program he's done, and he's going to go to 20 interviews in a day. He's going to go talk to all the people that, I don't want names publicly, but people that own big organizations in town that have a lot of money.
Sure.
And he's going to say, will you participate? Will you help us? We've gotten $50,000 from the Skubitz Foundation. We applied to the trust fund, Children's Trust Fund. We applied to a place in Kansas City for $2 million and a place in Oklahoma for $2 million. We don't have the connections that we think it might happen, but we had the right paperwork to get it done. So, I mean, you get your hopes up, and really it's kind of like looking for a job. When you interview for a job, what you need to do, instead of hoping on that job, you need to look for 3 more jobs to interview for. So that's what we're doing.
Sure.
We're just keeping our feet on the ground.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So Bud is, no one's around. I don't really like him that well, to be quite honest with you.
You are being recorded.
Oh,
just FYI.
I'm being recorded. Well, I'm sorry.
You're
I'm sorry, Bud.
But he's good at what he does.
He's good at what he does. He's good at what he does, and I think his approach is too abrasive. But I'm not the one in charge of everything. So if they choose to continue with him, that'll be fine. We'll see what happens.
Sometimes that's what it takes to get things done.
Well-
It may not be your style or my style,
Well,
but
it's
You know,
really.
I'm also a terrible fundraiser.
Yeah.
So I don't want to push somebody for it, which is not good for politics either, asking for money.
Well, I just have a real hard time asking people for something I think I can do myself. I'm kind of a guy that just wants to take care of stuff. And that's the reason I wrote the book in the first place, is because I thought we could take care of doing it ourselves. And because, I apologize to Ben, so go right ahead. I still need an executive session.
Okay.
Talk about personnel matters.
Let's go into executive session so we can get you guys moving. I know you're busy today. You want to go in for 10 minutes?
I think I only need 5, but if you come out early, you'll be okay.
Yeah, That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Okay.
We're going, 3 commissioners, council,
Yeah, that's all. Unless,
Mike,
no.
Mr. Pfeiffer for 10 minutes under
Non-elected
non-elected personnel.
I'll second.
Put them on, Sheriff.
All right.
Thanks, Rick.
Bye, Rick. All right, moving on. Crawford County Commission meeting back in order. New business, Jim.
Yes. I'm on the agenda for a lease purchase agreement. This came in last night. The bank brought it by about 4:30, so yeah, apologize that I didn't get this to you when I should have, but I'll explain it and then we can decide what we want to do with it. I bid out last week an interest rate quote for the appraiser's office for purchase of 2 vehicles. This does a couple things for them. I think it gets them finally on track with their vehicles to where they're not running vehicles that are just a maintenance issue and very old. This also will get them into what could be a rotation basis to where every 3 years they'll pay off a lease purchase and then they can determine if they need to go with 2 more. They'll have that into their budget. So I think it's good for them to start this. Probably should have happened before, but at least it's happening now.
So is this for both of them?
This is for
Yeah.
both of them.
Check ours.
33.8. We still getting a good interest rate. I wasn't sure. We haven't bid one out in a while. 2.88. Got a couple banks bid, so that's good. A 36-month lease. It has the language in it as far as what we require by state law for non-appropriation of funds. And I think it's good for the appraiser's office. They can manage that in their budget, and it gets them on more of a routine for vehicles. So, yeah, if commissioners are comfortable with that, then I'd recommend approval, and we can get the vehicles paid for.
You guys good?
Yeah.
If there's no further questions, I'll move we grant the lease an option to purchase contract, authorizing the chair to sign.
Second.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. And I would also like to request an executive session at the end of the meeting for 10 minutes under attorney-client privilege. And then that's all I have for new business.
All right. Bruce, new business?
I don't think so.
Jeremy?
So I had Blake Benson with the Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce call me yesterday to keep me apprised. I think that I'd heard about it before. I think, I'm not sure, but he said that he wanted to let us know. So the Mike Carpino Ford, what used to be Pittsburgh Ford, is looking to be annexed by the city in order to get some
Yeah.
incentives and.
Oh,
like
he's
if-
wanting to be?
Yes, he requested it. It's not
Yeah.
Pittsburgh that's driving it, it's him. And so eventually I think the way he made it sound, he thought that the city would sign off on a thing after they bring the proposal to the city commission and then they will send it over our way. I don't know if we have to sign off on it or how that goes, but he said that'll be coming up.
How's that
Jim,
work,
have you
Jim?
heard?
Usually on a consent annexation, we don't have much to do with it.
Mhm.
If a landowner consents to being annexed, I think it runs through the city.
Because when the casino happened, how did that?
I think
Because it was the same,
It was
right?
consent, it was an island annexation.
Would this be
consent.
island or is it up to?
I believe it's.
They have
R1.
some property that's
Yeah.
connecting, but it's a request. It's just like those lot subdivisions out south of the hospital. We weren't involved in that. at all.
Right, well,
They just consent to it.
Oh.
I'm just
They consent to
thinking
annexation.
about, was it Legacy Tractor that's there? Is that in the city of Pittsburgh as well, or?
That's a
I don't
good
think
question.
so.
I don't
I think
think
the
so
casino's
either.
the only
Just
thing out that way.
The stockade, now the stockade, I think is,
Yes,
that thing.
I'm pretty sure
But
it
I
is
think
too.
it's got, they couldn't link those two together, because
No.
Legacy would be in between them, I believe.
If,
it's
if a landowner
Yes.
consents to the annexation, then I think our roll's out.
Mm,
Interesting.
okay,
Is the way I
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if they want to be annexed.
Right.
right. Like I said, I think there were some incentives and benefits that he would be getting out of it.
Probably, yeah.
By doing that,
Yeah.
just the way
Yeah.
the tax stuff works.
Yeah, they can't use that to tag on to other properties, is how it works. So if it's a consent annexation.
How would that affect the county?
Really, there's no effect to the county. We'll still get our property tax, our share of the sales tax.
So none of that changes?
None of that changes. We'll still get what we're entitled to.
Sounds like they may be doing some kind of like a economic development item with them, maybe, or something.
I think so. Blake didn't go into
It
detail
could
about
be
it.
like where they do a payment in lieu of taxes, but usually that's at least tied to current value.
We'll
or
get what
current
we're getting, yeah.
taxability of property that might, stabilize it at that level for a few years.
Right, yes, because I think
Is
that
that
he's doing
something you looked
expansion
over
as
before?
well.
It's all something that's.
Yeah, that's probably, they figured that probably was some expansion or something
Yes.
going on that would make it attractive for them to be able
Subdivisions,
to
they just do.
run it. I don't think they could run it through neighborhood revitalization, but
Casino
probably
would
through
look
an
at it,
industrial,
you know,
like industrial revenue
Right.
bonds.
I think so, yes.
Like
Yeah.
they did for the hotel and, some other businesses in town, which that's great. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, hopefully that would mean increased property
Yeah.
tax revenue for us down the line.
probably put more people to work as part
Sure.
of it.
The only thing, you think Blake can keep us abreast of when this happens and.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
So-
they
Yeah,
said they
I'd
were
like to
definitely,
be kept in the loop
even if
as
it was
well.
just notifying,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Under new business, I'm gonna ask for a 10-minute executive session as well under non-elected personnel. Moving on to old business, Don?
I did want to let you know next Friday, and I kind of, it's been a while since we talked about the driver, defensive driving
Yes.
classes. And I got an email from Ryan yesterday afternoon, and they were doing mental health, and they had finished them, and we're gonna have 2 sessions. Next Friday will be, there's two sessions on that day, a morning and an afternoon, like 8:30 to noon, and then 1 to 4:30 or something that they will run, but they're gonna have another date as well, so they'll have four sessions available for county employees. I'm gonna email out the lists of people who we show are on our listed as drivers, on our insurance policy, but other employees are eligible to go, but the department heads would need to work out who's going when, so that they're covering their office, and they can't all send them all at once, things like that, and I don't know how you guys will, work with your crews.
I would like to recommend that our road crews, being we're in the asphalt season, that they try to schedule us for maybe in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
after,
after our asphalt season's
since
over.
we're
That
future
might-
with that, yes.
I was trying to think.
I don't want, we don't want our crews leaving.
Well, that's kind of wondered about that as well, because I know you guys, are trying to play catch up on some of that. Just gonna look at the Bridge, I had 44. And then Road and Bridge, that might take it down to where we only need to do it next week. You know, that, you know, if we were doing it, putting it into, there's about a little over 100. You know, if you take out mental health, there's about 100 drivers, 105, I think, from the other departments.
Yeah,
That would be not quite half of them, but getting close.
and as well, not only our road and bridge crews, but also the shop guys.
Well, and I just have everybody who works for Road and Bridge
Okay.
listed in there. It's shop people as well as guys out on the crews and stuff. Yeah, there's Josh and, you know, Mike and Peak, and people like that as well. So they might, I mean, because that would take our numbers. Reason we're gonna have 4 sessions, so they'd have about maybe 25 to 30 people per session. You know, you don't want to have 50 because they actually, I think driving is part of that. There's a little
Right.
bit of driving, so in a 4-hour session, you might only be able to process so many people.
Sure.
That might take it down where we maybe hold off on scheduling a second date until the fall for
Well, I think they could
Bridge.
go ahead and work up at, you know, and kind of my tentative of when the road and bridge guys, when we'd like to do it.
October in
Yeah.
that area. I mean,
Probably not.
sometimes you're still doing.
I'd like to think, I'm surely we'll be done by October, the 1st of October. So, yeah, maybe sometime in October you might recommend.
Well, we could, you know, tell them to hold off until September, and we'll try to get with you and let you know what we're seeing as a good date for the end of chip and seal and that kind of stuff, so that you guys, your people are available for that. So maybe we could just worry about trying to get people from these ones, the other departments in there next Friday, either morning or afternoon. And then, but I guess if they can't run all their people through there, they could know that there's gonna be a date down the road in a couple of months that we'll have a couple of more sessions
Next Friday.
available, but it'll probably be good for the rest
Is it
of the
next Fridays?
departments, trying to get as
After the
many as they can done
First of month.
in those 2 sessions next Friday.
Tag-wise.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good to know, is that Ryan was gonna kind of look at when they could schedule another day, and we need to let him know that'll be, actually, we'll be looking at it a lot further down the road than just in the next, 2 or 3 weeks after that. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, Jim, old business?
Yes, I visited with George Dockery about the project there at 126 4th Street there at the bridge, asking about Main Street. Main Street will not be closed during the entire project. They are working on, they had some issues there as far as an entrance for Riddell Construction, and been delayed with the rain. But the plan is to get that road changed a little bit and then reopened.
Okay, good.
Project itself will be, he called it 2 seasons, so it'll be what's left of this year and on into next year before they're finished. But yeah, that road will be reopened. I talked to Missouri DNR, and their plan for the road is to be open by August 14th. So that should be ready in time.
Oh, on the State Line Road?
State Line Road, right?
Oh,
So
good.
they've got the road to do, they got some fencing to do, and then they'll have, but the road, they plan on having it ready, and then they'll do some seeding and some other things to finish it up. But the main project's finished, it's just getting that road back open and some other kind of other work, so,
Okay.
yeah, that was
That's
good news as well, so. And, that's all I had.
All right. Bruce, old business. Jeremy?
I don't have any.
All right, I'll move we go into executive session for 10 minutes. The commission and council under attorney-client.
Yes.
Aye.
Crawford County Commission meeting back in order. Moving on to future business and announcements. July 30th, 8:30 a.m. work session to review July bills and payroll vouchers. July 30th, 2019, a 9 a.m. work session on the 2020 county budget. July 30th, 2019, Mr. Mac Young, Community Corrections Administrative Director, presenting fiscal year 2020 revised budget and behavioral health grant. August 8th, 9 a.m. work session with Mr. Rick Pfeiffer, Mental Health Executive Director, and Mr. Dwight Brenneforder, Architect, discussing the new Addiction Treatment Center.
That should actually be August 6th.
That
I
should-
gave you guys, I noticed that.
Actually
just now.
be August 6th with Mr. Pfeiffer's work session at 9 a.m. Is there any further business come before Crawford County Commission? Seeing no further business, I'll move the adjourn.
Second.
All right.